Hey everybody, it's Chris Guns. Welcome back to Pro MMA Insider Radio. And we're about to hear from Will Rosinsky and his trainer Felipe Gomez. And I want to know about their relationship and how training's going for the biggest fight of their life against Kelly Pavlik coming up on July 7th. So let's go ahead and get him on the line. Will Rosinsky and Felipe Gomez, welcome.
What's going on? How you doing?
Pretty good. I appreciate you guys being here. Big fight coming up. I just wanted to get more familiar with you guys, and I like what I see, and I think you guys could be around forever. How are you guys feeling going into this fight?
Yeah, Phil.
Go on, Felipe.
I actually, I got a good feeling. It is a great opportunity for Will. He's worked hard, and he's been in the ring with a lot of good fighters. He's fought, the best out there, and now I think he's being rewarded with a great opportunity. And Will's in great shape. He's always hungry, and to be honest with you, we're gonna actually go in there, and Will's gonna get the major league upset of the year. Because they got a kid that's coming in with, who they believe with no experience. Meanwhile, Will had well over 100 fights, and so he had a lot of experience. So we're gonna go there. Let's go a major league upset.
Yeah. And Will, when did you meet Felipe?
We met out in Stars City. I want to say 2005, 2006. With Jimmy O from Stars City was, I was training with him, and he was, he was getting a little older at the time, and he knew he couldn't do the pad work and things and be as involved. So he kind of passed the torch to Felipe, and he was always overlooking everything in Stars City, but Felipe was really there full swing at that point, and it's worked out like that ever since. And Jimmy O is, I know he's resting in peace now, and he's real happy right now that we're about to have this big fight next weekend. And he, he's in our thoughts too throughout this whole training camp.
I'm sure Jimmy O'Farrell's going to be there. You know he will.
He will.
And when was the first time you knew Felipe was the guy to be in that corner?
When we, as soon as we started training together, we clicked. I mean, it was weird how it worked, how Jimmy O kind of just passed the torch, and we just clicked. We all came from the same gym, so coming from the same styles and the same way of training with Jimmy O, it kind of we just mesh into each other because it's really the same philosophy on boxing and the same idea. So, like I said, he just passed the torch, and that's how it worked itself out.
Yeah, so it was a seamless transition, I guess. And Felipe, how about you? When was the first time that you knew that you had a possible champion on your hands in Will? Or did you always know it?
I mean, when I started training him, I used to see Will. I see, he was always dedicated. He was always, a hard worker. But once we started working, and I started, training him, and the way I was pushing him, I knew right off the bat that he had, what it takes to become a champion. And he's always, like I said, he's always been dedicated. He trains hard. The one thing that a trainer always looking to fight is that you want a kid that you don't have to be babysitting them. You don't have to tell them, listen, wake up, go run, or you got to pick them up. You want a guy that you want to train a kid that really wants it. So Will had that in him. He didn't need for me to push him, even though I did. But he didn't need for me to push him to get, to really train him and push himself to go far, to run, and to train harder. He wanted it from the beginning. So, I knew once we started working, I see how dedicated he was. I know what I had in my hand already.
Now, you guys aren't the typical fighter trainer that you find in the sport. Most athletes in general don't make plans outside of the sport they play. Of course, Will, you don't play boxing. We know that. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? People don't say, well, in case I don't make it in this sport, For whatever reason, not being good enough is possible, of course, for some. Personal problems, and of course, in any sport, particularly boxing, is a sport that injury is possible. But athletes don't usually plan for a living just-in-case scenarios, That's where you guys are different. Will, you have an education. You're a physical education teacher. Tell me about that. What made you want to focus on career goals when so many guys don't?
Well, at one point, believe it or not, when I was in the amateurs, I was going through college and stuff, and I was second guessing the whole pro thing. And I actually, me and Felipe went out, and I told him, I said, listen, I think I'm going to pursue this teaching career. I don't know if I'm going to do the whole boxing thing, you know, because I have a love for it, but I was unsure about, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And Felipe, being at the time an active sergeant with the police department, he said, "Listen, I love my job. You know, he has 3 kids, a wife, a family, and he does good for himself. But he said, if there's one thing I can go back and do, it would be to get the chance to turn pro, because what a lot of people don't know is that Felipe was at a crossroad of turning pro or going to the NYPD, and he chose NYPD, and it was a good decision. But he looks back, and as he told me, he looks back and says, you know, I wish I would have at least had a pro fight. So with that knowledge and that past experience, he kind of said, listen, not that it was a mistake, but don't do the same thing I did, and just give it a shot, and then you take it from there, you know. And with that said, I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll turn pro. I'm not going to. Teaching will always be there. I'll always have my degree. So I gave the pros a shot. So it was actually kind of like a second thing at one point. Boxing was actually the second hand thing, and then now it's going to be in the forefront because of the success that it brought. So
yeah, and also you're an EMT. What's that like, being an EMT?
Oh, I love it. I love the fire department. Work for the fire department. You know, I work in a pretty busy area. All of New York is pretty busy. So there's never a dull moment, and I enjoy every minute of it.
Now, being an EMT, what types of things have you seen?
What's that?
What kind of things have you seen being an EMT?
I mean, everything from a stubbed toe to you know, kids shooting each other. You know, you see everything in between. So it's a wild job. You don't know what you're walking into every day. Every day is a different call. You don't know what to expect. So that's the adrenaline that you get from that job. It's just it's very random.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of matches boxing like that, adrenaline wise.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to think on the spot, you know, and you know, a quick decision can change somebody's life, but you know, it can be a life or death quick decision, and that's, you know, you're hoping it's the right one.
Now, does that kind of make you not want to hurt anybody for some time?
Absolutely not. When I'm getting ready to fight, you know, it's my mindset's in a whole different area. Mm-hmm. I mean, I hope everyone always comes out fine, you know. Yeah. I would never want to do any long-term damage to anybody because it is a sport, but at the same time, that's what they're trying to do to me. So, you know, I'm fighting my way to the top just like they are. Mm-hmm.
And Felipe, not to be outdone by your student, I guess, you were a sergeant on the police force, weren't you? Tell me about that.
You know, like we said before, I mean, you know, it sucks the fact that I never had the opportunity to turn pro, you know. With the police department, you know, unlike the FDNY, you know, we're not able to turn pro, you know. So, you know, I always sit back and always wonder where I would have been at today. You know, I fought from 1985 to like 1999. Then I started training fighters in 1999 on. You know, I turned pro. I did turn pro. I had my license and everything. I was set to fight back in '97. And then, you know, the job stopped me from doing it. So, you know, it's like I used to push Will. I used to tell Will, listen, I said, you know, I'm happy for you. You have your degree and you have something to fall on, but definitely give it a try. Don't turn it down. You know, don't give up turning pro and you know, and giving that a try. You know, I mean, I don't regret not turning pro. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love, you know, I had a good career. It's a great job. You know, I just wish they would have gave me the opportunity. But, you know, listen, I'm retired now. I'm doing this full-time, boxing full-time now. And, you know, I'm happy with what I'm doing. I'm happy with the accomplishments, with the fighters, and everything we've done so far, you know.
Yeah, you actually fought to overturn the law that said you could not be a boxer and serve. How long did the court battle go on for?
That went on... That went on for a few years, but you know, then I still ended up losing the case. You know, unfortunately, you know, to present, no cop is allowed to turn pro. So, you it'd be nice if they could overturn that, because in reality, when I was on the job, I never had a sick history. I was always, always healthy. I was competing. I was always in tournaments. I never got hurt in boxing, thank God. And I never, it never affected my job. But hopefully someday it would change, and they will be as lenient as the EMT and FDNY. They let their guys, and all the other police department as well. I mean, Suffolk County, all the other police departments from out of state. You're allowed to fight pro. I mean, NYPD is the only police department that doesn't let you fight pro.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but.
It doesn't, I think it's a positive thing for the police department. I don't see nothing negative about, obviously they have a legitimate reason why, they figure, if you get hurt, it will stop you from performing your official duties. But, then again, you really get, people might think that in boxing you're going to get hurt. You don't really get hurt like that. I mean, boxing is a safe sport, believe it or not. Because it all depends who's behind you and who's watching. If you have a lot of educated trainers now, and that's watching you, and I'm sure that they're gonna take, they're gonna watch, for your safety. They're gonna make sure you don't get hurt.
Yeah. If CC Sabathia was a police officer now, he could play baseball. But he pulled a groin, so he wouldn't be able to serve either. You could play baseball, but you can't box. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, you could do a lot of other things but box, unfortunately. Well, you could actually box amateur, but you can't box as a pro, unfortunately.
Strange, but you guys share that the want to further your education and not rely on the sport. That's cool that you guys could bond over that too. And you saw yourselves possibly not having to rely on the business of boxing to make your living. You guys both tried to plan ahead, so that's good. No guarantees that this would pan out. But
right.
Will, was there ever a fight that you had where you really were glad it was Felipe in your corner and nobody else?
I'm gonna say all my fights, man, because it's not only the fights. It's not only the actual fight; it's leading up to the fight. I'm always well prepared, and as much as he talks about how I'm waking up to run or doing my half, he's always doing his half. So it's definitely a team effort. I tell people this: I'm the machine, and he's operating it. So I just listen to what he says, and it's all about comfortability when we're in the ring, comfortability when we're training and getting ready. So I can't see anybody else in my corner. Whether it's a club show or a $100 million fight, he's going to be there, and you can mark my words right now while I say that.
Yeah, and let's talk about your biggest fight to date so far. You fought another prodigy, another contender. Your friend and former roommate, Edwin Rodriguez, went at it for 10 hard rounds. What kind of emotions do you go through, Felipe? I mean, you developed this kid, and of course you got to have feelings for him after all those years. What do you feel when you watch him fight in a fight like that?
Well, I get nervous. I don't really tell Will this, but I actually, I'm as nervous as he is, and because you want to see him be successful. You want him to win, and you don't want him to get hurt. And we built this bond already. We've been together for so many years. Our relationship, as a trainer and fighter, I believe is unique. It's different from all the other trainers. We always train around, joking around. When it comes to boxing, and I push him. It's serious business. But at this time when you gotta, how to step back and have fun. And, we built this relationship. We get along very well, and I don't want to see him get hurt, and I don't want to see him lose. I want him to be successful. I want him to win and accomplish, something that I always wanted to accomplish, because I know this feeling when of winning something big. Will's an accomplished amateur. He won a lot of tournaments as an amateur, and he's been doing well in the pros now. I would love to see him become a world champion, Mm-hmm. A lot of the times I'm in there and I'm nervous because I want him to. I want him to do what he's supposed to be doing. It's a funny feeling. You get nervous for him.
Yeah, almost father and son by now. And what goes through your mind, Will, during a fight like that?
Was that again? Sorry.
What goes through your mind when you're fighting a fight like the Edwin Rodriguez fight? A tough, hard fight.
Basically, to stick to the game plan. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't tell you I was nervous also. But as soon as that bell rings, it's all business. I mean, it's always that way. It's been that way since the amateurs. But fight, whether it's a Kelly Pavlik, an Aaron Pryor Jr., Edwin Rodriguez, or some 10-year-old kid, I'm going to be feeling the same way because I want to stick to the game plan. I don't want to look bad doing it, and I want to come out successful. But the main thing is I have such a fear of losing. I don't even mind winning that much. I don't care about winning. I just hate losing so much that I'll do anything not to lose, and that's the biggest thing. I'll do anything not to lose. So, but I'm ready for this fight too.
Mm-hmm. No, not all losses are necessarily traumatic. This was a close, hard fight. What do you take away from a fight like that, and what makes it turns it into a positive instead of taking it as a negative for you?
To finish every round strong, I feel that a couple of those rounds, and I've said this a bunch of times before, a handful of rounds, I know the score didn't reflect the actual competitiveness of the fight, but a couple of rounds that might have been either way, that could have been close, were only close because I allowed them to be close. And I didn't do it purposely, but I did it as an inexperience. Whereas, I'm winning the round in the beginning, and then I'm almost satisfied we were winning the first half, and I was giving away the second half. So the main thing for this camp, especially going into fighting Kelly Pavlik in his promoter's card, where he's a superstar, it's to fight all 3 minutes of every round, rather than not that I as I said, it's just because of the inexperience of not fighting in 3 minutes, and now it's in the front of my head to make sure I fight all 3 minutes of all 10 rounds.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying you guys were robbed in that fight necessarily, but it was a hell of a lot closer than the judges' 190 reflected. But what do you think? What do you think of the judges and decisions like that for your kid, Felipe? When you hear a decision like that, like they already had it written out before the fight even started, almost.
Exactly. I mean, I was devastated. I mean, when I heard the scores, it was a unanimous 100. I was confused because I couldn't understand. Because even if we would have gotten the decision, I was saying to myself 100 to 90. But listen, I mean, at the end of the day, it was obvious what they really wanted it, and like I said, at first, when you're in the corner, so you miss certain things, and I would have been satisfied with a draw, and I mean. Yeah, at the end of the day, I thought Will stayed with the aggressor the entire time. He was on top of Edwin Rodriguez. I came home and I watched the fight, and the first thing I did, I muted the TV because I didn't want to hear the commentating, and I just wanted to watch the fight without the commentators just to see what was going on. Believe it or not, I actually thought the first time I watched it, I said, wow, I actually think Will pulled it out, Then again, I said the least they could have done was give him a draw, But listen, I guess I'm being a little biased because Will's my fighter. But the least they could have done was made it a draw. But it was obvious that they wasn't looking to give Will the any type of any type of neither one of the rounds, or they were looking to give him a decision. So.
Yeah, they were definitely they were definitely not looking at Will at all. It's pretty crazy. How about you, Will? You train as hard as you train, and then you get into the ring and you fight your heart out like that to not get any credit for any round. What's that do to you when you hear the story?
That's like a slap in the face. I mean, you could have my face if you watch the fight and when they split the screen, as soon as they say 100 to 90, unanimous decision, all three judges have it 100 to 90. I already knew what was going on, and my face, I think, said it all because my mouth dropped before they even announced Edwin the winner. I don't even know how to react to that. It almost seems surreal when you're first in there and then you're almost trying to find a legitimate reason why that would happen after watching a fight and stuff. Like, oh, maybe they saw his round because he landed that one hard shot, even though I was aggressive the whole round. Like, you try to figure it out, but there's really no reasoning for it. I'll never understand it. As I said before, boxing is very subjective, so you could in certain rounds, especially a fight like that, judges are pretty much gonna try to make a reason why they scored a round a certain way. But I guess not everyone sees it eye to eye like that, and hopefully they're not the judges for this next fight next week.
I hope you're against those judges from now on. You better put up a stink if you ever see their names again. You know what I mean? I said you better put up a stink. You better put up a stink if you ever see any of their names again. You don't want to.
No, absolutely. Listen, I have all their names written down, and the good thing is that I can, we are allowed to say something because maybe you feel like somebody has something personal against you. So I can guarantee that none of those judges will ever judge any of my fights as long as I have some type of control over it, because I will say something, and I do have all their names.
Yeah. And Felipe, what do you and Will do to prepare to go 10 hard rounds like that? Bring us into the gym on a typical day and training under you. What's it like?
Well, we picked it up in rounds. Obviously, doing the pad work, picked it up on the bag a little more. Will's in shape. He was already. He's already in shape anyway from the last fight. So we just had to pick it up just a notch. Not much, because after the fight with Aaron Pryor Jr., he was still fresh. He looked like he could go another 2-4 rounds. So we just picked it up a little bit. But Will comes in. We hit he jumped his rope. He shadow boxed. Then we do the pad work. We do the bag. Then we do the speed bag, double end bag, the normal boxing stuff. But the only difference is in the pad work. We work on different things and practice on what we need to work on for Pavlik. That's the only difference. We were just working on some little stuff that I know that could throw Pavlik off his game plan. So. Will's in shape. He's ready to go, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be not shocked, because everybody knows the type of fighter that Will is. But they're going to see. They're going to be be impressed with the way Will's going to come in and put on the show, and we're going to come out victorious in this fight.
And did you do anything different, Will, in your last training camp?
Excuse me?
Did you do anything in your last training camp for Aaron Pryor Jr. that you did for the Rodriguez fight before that?
We definitely we trained for the obviously the height, everybody 6'4", so we were working on how to get inside and how to pick the shots from and try to take his reach away. So and that we'll show that on that fight. We'll stay inside, then he boxed, he moved, he used angles, and he threw him off, and came out victorious. And all three judges had him winning. Big. Like 1-2 judges had Aaron Pryor winning one round. But same thing with Pavlik. We train on certain things, and we just change a few minor things, and but we're ready to go. Will's in shape, and we're gonna win this fight.
And Will, that's the fight that got you the upcoming fight with Kelly. Kelly Pavlik, at his very best, is a dangerous guy. He's as dangerous as there is. It seems like he's focused now. He's staying very active. Doesn't stay out of the gym much in between fights. His trainer, Robert Garcia, seems really happy with how Kelly's catching on, and he seems to be making quite an impression on his new coach and his new gym. How do you fight Kelly at his best?
Is that for me?
Yeah, that's Will. How do you fight Kelly at his best, Will?
Well, even though he's not at his best, I'll fight him the same way, and that's what I'm going to show the world next week, so I can't say too much. But with his new trainer and his gym and everything, you know what? When people change trainers like that, I feel that the lack of confidence in their corner, and he was with Jack Rowe for like 20 years. pretty much since he was a young amateur, and he got rid of him. So as soon as he starts getting tagged, like most fighters, he'll be going back to his old ways or whatever they've been working on will probably more than likely go out the window. I know they're not sure how to fight me because there's only so much on YouTube that they can actually watch, so I definitely have the advantage in that aspect of being able to get ready for them because they're kind of going in blind. I've heard them compare me to a little bit of an upgrade of Scott Sigmund, so that's their first problem. And I'm kind of happy he's looking past me. It'll just make that fight easier for me. But I know I'm in for a rough one because he is a former world champ, and I'm looking to really impress a lot of people.
Yeah, and how important would you say this fight is to you right now in this part of your career at this point in your life? How important is this fight to you?
Oh, this is everything. Pretty much, I feel like I've fought the last 10 years, including the amateurs, for this moment. This is like the biggest, the best possible thing that can happen at this very moment, and it's the most important thing that can happen at this very moment. Just with everything. I mean, I'm ready mentally. I'm ready physically. I'm hitting my prime, and I feel like. Just he's a big name, and he's kind of on his way out. He's trying to build his career, and I said it once, and I'll say it again. I think I'm a bad guy to try to build your career on.
Yeah, and Felipe, if this fight goes as you hope, what do you see happening when you envision this fight?
Well, I see Will beating him a unanimous decision. I don't want to take nothing away from Kelly Pavlik, and I'm not taking nothing away from Will as well. Will can't punch, but I know Pavlik could take a shot. So, I see Will definitely beating him easily on a 10 round.
And Will alluded to the fact that it sounds like Kelly might be underestimating you guys a little. By taking this fight on such a short notice, do you think it seems that way too? Think he looks like he's overlooking you guys a little bit?
Absolutely. And which, like Will said before, we actually glad that he is, because, listen, I mean, we would like them to come unprepared, but, we're ready, we're training, we always stick to the same game plan. We don't underestimate anybody, and we train, every time we train to fight, we train to win. And so we're definitely going to come in shape and ready to go. So, if he's overlooking Will, he got some issues, he got some problems, because, he's going to be very surprised when he see Will Rosinsky. And, it was just funny, like Will said before, how they would, they say he was like just a better version of Scott Sigmund, and that's the bad way to actually analyze your next opponent, because Will's a 1,000 times better than that kid. So, no disrespect to Scott Sigmund, but Will's it's a more experienced fighter. So, Pavlik got a fight in his hand, and he's going to be surprised next week Saturday.
Is there a rematch clause in the contract? Anyone? Is there a rematch clause in the contract? Or is that secret? Confidential? Why should people not miss this fight, Will?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little. Say that again?
Why should people not miss this fight?
Oh, because you got two tough guys. One that's trying to build his career, and myself that's trying to make a statement. And it's gonna be a war. There's gonna be some war issues there. It's gonna be definitely a fan-friendly fight. I can guarantee that, because I know Pavlik is coming to fight, and I'm for damn sure coming to fight, and I'm gonna do what I have to do to win. So it's definitely a fan-friendly fight, and people are definitely gonna enjoy it.
Will Rosinsky and Felipe Gomez, thank you, gentlemen, and good luck on July 7th against former world middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik. Can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And there you have it. Will and Felipe. And they sound really confident going into this fight on July 7th. Should definitely be an action-packed fight. And I expect a possible Fight of the Year candidate for as long as it lasts. Like I said, I can't wait to see it, and I'm sure you guys can't either. And if you guys think you can wait, I want you to just watch the fight and you'll find out what I'm talking about. This is going to be Fight of the Year for as long as it lasts. Thanks for joining us, and follow me on Twitter at Chris2Guns. Thank you.